And we withdraw, then we're back. No time to breathe, at least for LLS, as they still have to face Verdant. This will be their last opportunity, and if they miss, they will be locked in last place. Middlecott and Jamada. Obviously, I have to make the hard questions. Middlecott, for you specifically, how can you boil an egg? Jamada, how can LLS actually win the game?
Look,
nobody knows the
plenty
answer.
of times. I've used this phrase plenty of times. I'm an analyst, not a magician, right? I don't create fantasies. I'm not a story writer. If game 1 is anything to go by,
yeah,
my expectation is that game 2 is even shorter than game 1, and it's not Lightside winning, right?
You know what makes me sad? No, continue.
Yeah, I wanna try and be positive. Genuinely, I think if I'm to try, I think maybe if Rusty Sniper removes the Rusty part from his name and remembers that he can actually, he can dish out some bits and bobs, that maybe they can play through the bot lane, maybe. But I can't even really be, I can't bring analysis with it. That's just the only place where I feel like maybe Lightside can play, and that's just because of the history of the player.
Middlecott, when you hear Jamada sometimes, don't you like, man, he's cooking. He knows what he's talking about, right?
Yeah.
If only he cooked like this when he lived in my apartment back in Berlin. But nah, he cooked nothing just now on this. But yeah, continue, Middlecott. Yeah.
But I mean, to answer your question, Archrom, you'd fill a kettle up with water. You'd obviously set that on, and then you take a couple of eggs, put them in the pan. Yeah, I kind of just have to continue along the same sentiment as Jamada. Like, maybe Ronaldo gets a big money offer from Arabian League and quits halfway through to go and play there, like his namesake. But realistically, I think that Rusty Sniper upping the level of his gameplay really is the only option here for Lightside. If we're talking about his performance in that game, I think he was fine up until he got tilted and decided that the game was already lost, and he did on Ezreal where he probably shouldn't have done. But the big issue here for me is that I don't think it's necessarily just the mid lane which is going to be going badly for Lightside. I think that Verdant have got pretty much lane kingdom in terms of the actual skill level of their players. Like, these guys took it for 28 minutes against Los Ratones and lost because of some poor decision making when they had a slight lead. I think if this game even goes to 28 minutes, Verdant will have a completely insurmountable lead. And the thing about an insurmountable lead is you don't really come back when you're facing against one of those. So yeah, sets us up for a potentially very interesting final game of the day, with Verdant taking on Bulldog, but this should be elementary for Verdant. There shouldn't be any slip-ups here.
I don't know if you got to see the point of view from players on the Verdant versus Los Ratones. The only way that Los Ratones won was specifically when, I think it was Reckless, stated they making macro errors. Just let us buy in. We are better at macro. And that was the only way out of that game. And for that game, they needed a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and realized the macro plays were being failed. Can LLS pull such a stunt? That's beyond our understanding. Jamada made that face, and I already know the answer. You can't hide. I know. No. But I think it's the only reality. I know you don't make any promises or magic tricks, but I'm trying to make it interesting. But yeah, when I look into Verdant, it's not only because we have 2 Portuguese players and another one that's called Ronaldo, but also it's just because this team is performing really well, which also concerns me why they're 1-3.
Yeah, actually that's a good spin on this topic whilst we're here. It is kind of interesting to see them be 1-3, right? I think at the end of the day, they are in, they're in a group where they have Los Ratones, they have North, so you can kind of, if you want to say they had to pay the 2-game tax of being in this group, then fine. But we saw how they played against Los Ratones. They could have realistically come away with a win. seeing that game then obviously kind of lets you know that, hey, they probably could have at some point contested Nord a little bit better than they did. I think that was the game with the really weird shenanigans that ended up kind of just making it a Nord like runaway game. But losing to Lightside or Bulldog, not so much. I think that, to me, you know, Verdant on paper should theoretically be the best out of these 3 teams playing today in these tiebreakers, in just namesake alone. But I think, like you kind of alluded to, Archer, through the call out of Reckless's call in that particular game, aspects of the macro have to get better, right? It's one thing to be a good set of players, but it's another to be a good team, right? And it's about being greater than the sum of your parts. And I think that's the kind of direction that Verdant generally need to probably look in, because middle court, you mentioned, pound for pound, across the rift, at the very least in this matchup, they're going to be better than a majority of Lightside, if not all of them. That's going to be the case for a lot of opponents they play in the league, right? Outside of the top echelon. And to me, that's the difference between them and the top echelon with your Los Ratones and, you know, your rich gang, maybe your second Nord, is they have to be on the same page. This is a good, you know, stage game moment for them to be on the same page and see what they can actually do in terms of dismantling Lightside in a efficient manner.
I was waiting for middle call, but keep in mind that realistically it was Lightside winning versus Verdant, so that's why Lightside has that little 1 in front of them. So rematch from the previous match, and this match was interesting because it was Verdant with a big lead and they were the ones making the macro mistake. So will they actually do it again, or will they jump in and actually fix their mistakes and get themselves a better seeding? Xante. And now we finally get Skarner out with the Corki. I was gonna say Yankees because he's the only one allowed to play Skarner for some reason. And what's the last one? Because Wukong is pivotal for some teams.
Yeah, I think that Wukong and Varus are probably like the 2 big priority picks in this matchup. Like, you can take away some of the pocket picks, like Hybrid just had some success on the Viego. But really, I feel like those are the 2 ones where if I see Verdant getting both of them, then I'm like, all right, this is a big problem. I think Mishi has quietly been a very, very strong AD carry. And No Name is just so damn consistent every time he sets onto Summoner's Rift. He's never going to be making massive flashy plays, but he is always going to be offering something of value. We are seeing a hell of a lot of first pick rumbles, and I've very mid success from it, to be perfectly honest.
Champ's good. I just don't think that teams... I think it's a mix of the team that happens to be first picking Rumble is the team that's I realized. Paper supposed to lose. We've lost Archer in terms of video, but I'm hoping we still hear him. And that's just kind of it. And maybe some drafts around the champ just aren't, you know, super clean or cohesive. We'll see, though, how Papatero is going to pilot this one. I think he's had a relatively successful time on the Rumble so far, and we've seen him on it. Lightside, though, other end, very quick rotations coming through, actually. Wukong, Ezreal again for Rusty Sniper. As long as the spirit of Jackie Love doesn't possess him, then I'm hoping for a much more positive game. But this time, he's laning into Varus, so it's going to be a much harder time, and the Rel also locked in. So strong team fighting, pretty much S-tier premier picks across the board right now. For Verdant, Lightside need to answer with something strong.
Yeah, and I mean, if we want Verdant to be improving on their sort of coordination, I think like trying to test out these more team fighting based compositions early on in the split where, yes, you are fighting for seeding, yes, that can be important. You really don't want to be in that lower bracket. This is kind of the time to do it, rather than when we start getting into series play where it's really important that you don't lose, because then you are out of the tournament completely. Cargo going to be locking in the Alistair with the Rel taken away. I'm hoping to see a little bit more from him. I think that the Rel, whilst he has been going to it a lot, performances have been a little bit underwhelming. I think Alistair, you're a bit more solid in your engage. If you're headbutt pulverizing someone, they are getting headbutt pulverized. And Rel, we've seen a few whiffs of Magnet Storms from him here and there.
Welcome back.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, well.
Oh, they can't hear Archer on broadcast.
Brilliant. Well, it seems like Harbo's learned his lesson, and he has requested that Lightside remove away the Silas. And to be fair, I kind of like it as a ban here anyway, because dealing with Relo, Varasol, very powerful as well on Silas, weirdly so, but it's because of the AP ratios, and of course the equalizer. Or what am I saying? The other side, right? You've got the knockup from Wukong, and then obviously the Alistar ult, very, very powerful, and then the Victor ban alongside it. Victor, I think this pick is a bit of a fraud pick. I think it's obviously been it's been changed, and it's definitely a little bit stronger than before the pre-rework. But I don't know. I'm not super sold, though I see it do well, right? And I think that's just because we're seeing a lot more mages, and generally Victor has good matchups into most mages, so I think it's more of an answer there. Plus, hey, Arcane just came out 2 months ago. Anyhows, Lightside looking like they're going to go towards this Ornn here, just looking for more stable team fighting. And I like this. Based off of what we saw from game 1, just give yourselves an easy to execute composition. Give Harbo R5. Try and get him in as much of a comfortable lane matchup as you can get him in. Something that's going to scale into the later stages. And if he's laning against the Azir, his options are going to be relatively wide, even with all of these mage bans. We'll have to see, however, if Verdant still go towards that Azir, as they now lock in that Xin, looking for early skirmishing and, of course, later on team fighting in the mid game.
Yeah, 2 picks here in this last rotation that are really great at sort of making space in team fights. And again, from Lightside, we are looking at a relatively low damage composition here. Like, the Wukong's going to be able to provide a bit, Ezreal's going to be able to provide a bit, but I think Harbo really, really needs to step up. Otherwise, we are going to be seeing LLS locked in the bottom side of the bracket. And Akali is a bold one based on how things are going. Let it never be said that Harbo is not confident in his own abilities. This is going to be boom or bust.
I'm just waiting for you, Jamad. I know. The storm is brewing.
There's no... Look, I'll be neutral here. There's no point in click CC. That's great, but there is so much AoE CC, so many ways to peel off of Akali. I am really worried about what Harbo is going to be able to achieve here. The laning phases haven't been like the strongest, and to me, even though Akali has definitely been seen and in many ways is certainly an answer to Azir in terms of the side lane like possibilities, right? Playing side lane as Azir and then having to walk into a side lane where Akali is sucks. Level 6 against Akali sucks, right? It's very difficult to play out these 1v1s, so there is a lot of room for Harbo to have success here. My worry is that how is he going to pilot the early laning phase, and how is that then going to transition into, you know, later on points in the game if he's not able to, at the very least, stay even, let alone actually try and gain a lead.
Last opportunity for Lightside at this moment, and meanwhile for the other side, it's about getting revenge and the better statement towards the last game of the day. It's seeding, it's important, because from now on we move on to playoffs. We're talking about moving on. Let's move on to the caster's desk as they're waiting for us.
We are waiting for you, Archer. We're waiting for you to reconnect to the VMix call once again. Hello, everybody. We're getting back into the game. One of the things that I was talking about to you briefly just before we got into the off our green room and into the actual game was the one thing I like about Lightside's comp versus their game last game was I think they've actually got more than one damage threat. I think the biggest problem they had last time was Rusty was the only person who was actually like a consistent source of damage, or even put enough damage down, because I cast my mind back to that Atakan fight where honestly it looked like it was starting to go great, and then suddenly they just ran out of damage. This time around you got Harbo on, you know, on the Akali, and I think Jamada's points about it's going to be hard to pilot the Akali in some of these fights is a very valid point. But if you can pilot it well, if you can find those opportunities, those flank angles, Lightside actually have enough damage this time. They've got follow-up in this team.
Yeah, multiple threats for Lightside. Speaking of level 1, here we go.
5v5 level 1. That's going to be an absolutely huge one. Highbrush going incredibly low. No Name burning out to the ignite. Lightside flashing away. Nobody has died. The soldiers continue to chase forwards. Rusty should be a-okay off the back of this one. Oh, man. That could have been honestly been a disaster for someone.
Alright, yeah, nothing happening here. Flash from Highbridge going down. Both junglers losing that. And the ignites from the support. So all in all, at the end of the day, it's even Stevens, even though Verdant obviously looking like they came out on top of that one. So yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting game for sure to start with, mostly just because of the Akali pick in mid for Harbo. we haven't seen too much from Harbo so far this split. He had some good Rise games in week number 1, but outside of that, I would say Harbo has struggled so far in the seeding stage of the NLC. So picking up an Akali, which is very much like a I'm gonna be the guy type pick, it's ballsy. It really is. But it does, like you said, give Lightside another threat, a backline threat, so Rusty can stay one side, Akali jumps in the other, and he has people to jump in with him to enable it. So in theory, it could work. I can see why it's being picked, and we'll see how the execution comes down.
I respect the confidence is the main thing here. But for now, laning phase, especially at level 1, it sucks. It's not the most enjoyable experience versus the Azir. Massive outrange, got a lot of poke he's able to put down. Harbo is able to hit that level 2, gets into the W, gets that invisibility. Ronaldo, though, does a solid job of answering back using against the invisibility. And ultimately, they actually trade relatively equal after a pretty extended trade off the back of that. Just having a quick look at the map and seeing where the junglers are. Both of them are on the top side, clearing downwards. So we could see a potential 3 versus 3 breakout over there. Just keep our eyes on that. I mean, especially on those ins out, you kind of want to be more proactive early. You want to be getting into those scraps and skirmishes as soon as possible. So I kind of expect to see No Name, once he's done his full clear, look for some action and try and just get the game rolling off the back of that.
Yeah, definitely. Xin Zhao wants to be active early, and when you're looking for lanes to play with, then you know you're looking at the rail to set up your plays with the crowd control. And likewise for Lightside, the Wukong needs set up too, and he's got the Alistair, right? So there's certainly options in the bot side of the map here. And we're seeing Mishi now just having gone for that reset and using the teleport on the Varus to pick up that tier. So he's gonna be stacking that early, able to stay out a little bit longer as well. We can see No Name actually looks like he's posturing towards the bot side of this play. The priority is in Lightside's favor. So if this is just a crab play, then Hybrid should be able to pick that one up, and maybe even double crab No Name here.
Yeah, he actually may be able to get away with that. No Name, bit slower on that clear. Hybrid gonna get a major advantage off the back of this, and now that Midwave's also pushing in, No Name's kind of left scratching his head, figuring out what he can actually do. Harbo's gonna make sure he's in range of the crab as well. Smite comes down. Nothing that No Name can do in the double crab early. Lovely little start there for Hybrid, and just slowing down the pace of his enemy jungler by a pretty significant margin off the back of that.
And the big problem there for No Name was that he stayed to try and contest the second crab. Like, it was gone, right? You don't have pro from your mid lane. Maybe if you can get Puppeteer to come down, but he wasn't able to shove in time. So you just leave, right? You say, yeah, this sucks, let's go. And what are we waiting for?
Well, I just noticed No Name's start. He started at Wolves, I think, and not Gromp or red or blue. So that's probably why he was off tempo, because he had to. His clear path was very bizarre.
I didn't notice his start, to be fair.
No, neither. But I just noticed that the Wolves came up first, and then Gromp has only just about come up. No Name, he doesn't care about his clear. He's going immediately in. Winter misses the knock up onto the walls. Papatero can be able to throw a harpoon out here, jumping in. Winter has got flash, but I think he's just going to have to accept his demise off the back of this one. Papatero going a little bit low. Going to give the kill over to Papa. Oh no, actually it's going to be No Name who gets it. Nice little pick up off the back of that. Dragon's now spawning up, but Hybrid's not in the area to make a quick denial of that. Grub spawning up fairly soon as well, so I think with this kill in the top side, Papatero is going to get a reset, get his tempo advantage, and then potentially move over for that Grubs. Looks like Lightside are actually happy to make the trade on the jungle objective, because the ping's gone down on the Dragons, and Hybrid just going to steal away the Raptor camp as well, so that gap between the junglers is starting to grow off the back of this.
It is, and I much prefer this kind of playstyle from Lightside and from Hybrid specifically in the early game here, because Wukong is not a champ that wants to do things too much early. But nor was the Amumu that we saw from last game. But it just felt like we were over-forcing a little bit on that Amumu. Like, we didn't have to. We wanted to chill a little bit more. Even if we're conceding early stuff, it's fine. But this time around, Hybrid is focusing a lot on the farm, right? A lot on his pathing. No Name starting up. The Grubs here. We've got the rotation coming through from Lightside.
Nice chunk onto Harbo. I believe they were able to pick up one grub. Yeah, so Hybrid's just denies potentially, although the rotation's coming in. Papatero's got 6. Smite is available to neither jungler, actually, so Hybrid is just going to lose a lot of HP. Is able to get the sneak, steal, denying that feat of strength over to the side of Verdant, but they do answer out with those 2 grubs for themselves. Nice little pick up there. And this time we did see, you know, Lightside, they rotated both their bot laners up, but it was matched by Obstinatis, so it shut down the kind of pressure that was getting built.
Yeah, and it's to be expected when it's Xin Rumble versus Olaf Wukong pre-6, right? It's something that this 2v2 does not work in their favor for Lightside. I don't think they can dive this one, but Xin Zhao is on the red buff. They might be trying to trap for Hybrid, something like that potentially as well here. Hybrid doesn't really have an answer to this play. I don't think too much is going to be happening here. So that's just a free red buff for No Name. So he'll be very happy about that one, able to leverage that early strength from Xin. Hybrid will be figuring that one out as he walks past here. I think he's only like 1 or maybe 2 camps away from level 6. And that's what Wukong wants to that Cyclone to really actually become more of an effective champion.
Yeah, absolutely. The Xin Zhao ult's actually going to be nice to kind of like disengage your team when they get cycloned. Ronaldo losing a lot of HP. Obstinatis is making his way over. If he can find it, the flash comes out. Harbo flashes in response. So they are just going to back off. Under the flash in the mid, though, is nice. Ronaldo, you didn't have to burn any summoner spells there. Abrash may look for a little something onto Obstinatis, but the pressure right now is focused more heavily on this dragon. As Leela Cargo, Hex flashes over the wall. Hybrash, just get a little bit of poke off on Obstinatis. He can jump back towards his mid lane.
Times this bot side jungle here very nicely have Lightside. So even though Hybrid lost his top side, lost that red buff, we're still here for the Raptor contest. It's very nice stuff, and we're even going into red buff too. So picking up what we lost earlier on, as No Name's not even in the area. He recalled. He's just about coming out on the map now, so there's no contest here for Lightside at all.
Faust did some damage to our tournament, didn't he? Everyone's going for the proxies. Obstinatis is in the area. They didn't steal the red buff away. Leo eating a fair chunk of damage. Comes in for the headbutt pole. Gets onto 2. True shot hits Mishi. Mishi gets the ignite thrown onto him as well. W is going to get dodged away there as Leo goes down. No Name's able to secure the kill. Massive cyclone. Doesn't really have much of a follow-up as the piercing arrow hits onto Rusty, but no one else. No Name tries to find that wind become lightning, but not going to get it off as Papatero's in the area. Hybrid flashed onto, and he's just cooked.
RIP Hybrid, she's going to fall down. That's a 2 for 0 in favor of Verdant. And to be honest, this was a good play for Lightside. Lightside should have come out on top of that. They could have dove that pretty easily, but just no communication right there. As Harbo looks like he might be the third to fall.
No, he might be looking for Ronaldo. A Q auto may do it. Can he find it? He's got the kill as he runs him over in the brief ending there. Beautiful 1v1, but a 1v2 trades out equally. Papatero, another kill under his belt. 2-0 on the Rumble already. Got a farm lead as well. He's sitting very pretty off the back of this, and Verdant able to get that dragon under their belt.
Let's take a look then again at the Harbo play in mid. So Harbo already starts relatively low, but finds the engage onto Ronaldo. He dodges the soldiers. That's the big play right here. It's actually quite tough for Harbo. Like, he's in his shroud. It's meant to be a big outplay potential with the stealth, but so much AoE damage that he's just being cooked. He doesn't have much room to work with, but he does. He gets it down and trading a kill there in a 1v2. Very nice stuff. And I see Hybrid now just clearing back from bot to top. Does want to make sure that he gets that Triforce, so he's going to be chilling a little bit here until he can get that. We are going to get the respawn on the grubs, however. Now 2 grubs went over to Verdant, so they only need 1 more to get the to make it count for the feat. And I don't think
Lightside are going to be contesting. I genuinely thought it was for the whole. You had to take the whole camp. I didn't realize it worked like that.
Nah, just 3. I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly certain
that's how it works. I'm pretty sure you have to take the whole camp for it to count.
Oh, I see.
So I think if you deny one, you deny it entirely as a camp. So yeah, they'll get the feat of strength. Yeah, there it is. So they get the feat of strength off that. Now,
right.
Headbutt Pole comes in onto Obstinatus. Gets caught out by the Cyclone. Is going to be able to jump away, but second Cyclone comes in. Rusty, he's over the wall. Obstinatus is flashless, so he has nowhere to go, and Highbrush secures the kill. Finally gets that red buff that's been up for a hot minute. Although Mishy's making his way over. I mean, he might get it, but there may be a pretty heavy cost for it. No name. Blast Cone's over. Smite comes in, so Highbrush does lose it. Rusty needs to be careful. Wind becomes lightning. Leo Cargo comes to the flash pole, knocking back Mishy. Mishy is flashless, so Mishy may just fall here. He finds himself taken out. Did see the cleanse come out from Rusty. I'm not sure it was 100% necessary. Harbo now has found Obstinatus. It's a very scrappy little phase of play here from the side of Verdant. They're looking a little bit lost on this front, and Highbrush, he can't get this camp for a third time. That is just cruel. No name's able to get it, but still gets a couple of the little chickens. Little chicken wings on the way out.
I thought that was a tough one for Verdant to contest, and that's how it turned out, because Ronaldo moved up towards the red side chicken camp. He was on. Watch Ronaldo's pathing here. This happens a bit earlier, excuse me, but we're going to see Obstinatus just fall because he's out of position. Like, your team's playing for top side, right? So Ronaldo right now is in the top lane. No name is recalling. You don't have any backup here whatsoever. And then when we do go for this extended play, now we can keep our eye on Ronaldo, right? Azir in the mid lane, while this is all happening, is just running down. He's just getting here. So why are Verdant trying to contest with Mishi and No Name when Ronaldo was the top side of the map? He wasn't there at all. Speaking of the top side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, Winter goes down in it. I do think Rusty blowing the cleanse there was a little bit bad. Didn't have anything to cleanse, but used it regardless, just in case. As Mishi trying to land those hail of arrows onto Rusty, not going to be able to hit it. Remember, it's all they need is one more jungle objective for Verdant, or just this first tower blood, and they are sitting happy. There's 2 plates left on that top tower, so it's already fairly chunked. Does look like Ronaldo's not particularly interested in going for it. Doesn't have information on where everybody is on the map. So he's going to step off. What he doesn't know is it's Papatero who's the one in danger. Leo's going to hex flash forward. The equalizer goes down. Papatero's trying to hold his life for the moment. He does hit from Harbo. Harbo takes the tower shot. It's a 1-for-1 in a 3 versus 1. Papatero played that very nicely.
That was a great equalizer. The red carpet there, absolutely perfectly placed to maximize that damage. Trading 1-for-1, like you say, in a 3 versus 1, very, very good stuff. There is a shutdown, however, going in the favor of Lightside, and a plate there for Rusty's sniper as well. The real question is, of course, when you send 3 members of Lightside down bot, what do you lose on the rest of the map? And we can see that being answered right here, this top side. Very, very low. Ronaldo's just been split pushing around this side of the map here, and he might just be able to pick up this tower. In fact, it's all but gone right now, and this will be those feats coming through. So there it is, easy as you like. We have the tower and the first blood, and those upgraded boots coming through as well.
Yeah, getting that objective ticked off is nice. Getting the Swifties onto both Mishi and Papatero. Swifties are bonkers if anyone hasn't played much this season. Once you get them upgraded, you are super speedy, because typically you get an upgrade on all of your stats from your boots, but Swifties only gives move speed, so I mean, it has its passive effect as well, but you can't buff that more. So we are going to see Dragon getting started up. Harbo sniffing about in the area. It does actually look like Verdant want to go for the contest here. No name's hip out. They are just going to look for the lockdown onto Winter, forcing him to flash away, but that will give Dragon over the light side. No real contest can come out of the back of that one, as Leo maybe looking for something. The old horn gets blown. Winter gets the knock up onto Ronaldo, but that is going to be it. No summoner spells burnt from the side of Verdant. They do give up a dragon, but they don't lose anything for it.
Ooh, but Rumble is now pathing up from bot, and he just got his ulti. So there's a chance, if we extend this fight here, that equalizer could be problematic. But no, it's all good. Lightside able to pick up that dragon at the cost of Winter's flash. I'd say that's definitely worth it. And Verdant, on the other hand, they push down that top tower, right? That's now dead. Mid tower as well is getting quite low, and so is this Bob. But here we go. Another fight.
Obstinatus holding that Magnet Storm, blows it now as they get the lockdown onto the cow. On goes Ali goes down. No name finds himself having to use the Crescent Strike to try and stay alive, but Highbrush has to flash away over the wall. True Shot Barrage doesn't quite get the damage. Double kill picked up by Ronaldo in the middle of the fight as Harbo is cooked down by Papatero. A 3 for none in favor of Verdant. Is now Rusty Sniper Doesn't have to worry about Mishy's ultimate. Doesn't have to worry a little bit about the damage, so he just backs off.
Oh, that's tough right there for Lightside. Obstinato space checks Leo Lacargo, and Leo goes in thinking he's the one making the play, but the collapse actually comes through from Verdant. They were more in position for this one, and watch the red carpet as well from Papatero. It's just going to make this so impossible to play. Lightside try and get the re-engage, but you have to respect the fact that you're not going to be able to play in that jungle at all. And Ronaldo, who's been very quiet in the score department up until this point, 0 kills before that fight. He's been farming up a storm and now finally gets some kills. It's a 2,000 gold lead in mid, a 2,300 gold lane in that top side. The solo laners of Verdant, they're popping off.
They really are. Absolutely huge performance coming in. 5,000 gold lead. Could grow as well. That mid lane tower kind of being the one structure which gives Lightside a comfortable foothold on the map. That should fall fairly quickly, especially once this Herald is used. Provided there isn't a steal, but from the way that we're seeing Lightside posture, I don't expect them to try and go for a contest. It'd be too little too late. No Name picks that up, and they could either look to crack a tier 2 and just inject a massive amount of gold into a couple of players, or they crack open this mid and really open up the map for themselves.
I think that's a good idea if you want to get this mid down as well. Like the wave clear this game from Lightside, it's pretty bad, right? Like you're looking, I mean, what is the wave clear? SQ, right? Because you need to have AoE and you need to be able to do it from range, right? To do it safely and not just get poked out and engaged on under the tower versus a siege. Like an Orno, maybe? I don't know. Like there's no great options for wave clear. So when Lightside fall behind in this game, which obviously they now find themselves in that position, and especially versus Shelly, it's so tough to stop the sieges. Like Verdant might not even need Shelly to start sieging these turrets now.
No, I don't think they will. Papatero making his way over as well. Ornhorn available to Winter, so keep your eyes on that one. Knockup comes down. Tower will crumble. There's the equalizer. Leo Lacargo forced the flash, but he's still inside it. They jump in with the Ornhorn. They're not going to get the redirect, but they find the shutdown onto No Name. Winter going low, but he is so tanky at this point as Harbo finds himself on the flank. Massive ult by Highbridge, gets the knockup. Mishi is going low, but Harbo falls in the midst of the fight. The Azir tower is shredding Highbridge's health bar as down he goes. Verdant successfully disengaged the fight and secured themselves an extra kill on the way out.
Ronaldo is an absolute monster this game. That Azir damage, the deeps coming through, absolutely slaughtering Lightside. It's so hard to play into. Like you've got an Akali that wants to jump in and go aggressive. Likewise with Wukong. And they just can't do it versus Azir. Not to mention that turret there proving all kind of problems too. This dive starts a little bit early as the turret was still alive. But to be honest, it doesn't matter too much. All this CC, the knockup, control means that No Name falls down. And watch this blast core on the right hand side of the screen. Highbridge, boom, into the middle of everyone with Harbo joining in as well. It's a really good counter engage, but you've got the Ronaldo turret is beaten down on Lightside with Ronaldo himself doing it too. Just not enough. Lightside kind of beaten by Wallet there.
Yeah, they kind of also just like that Azir ultimate was almost like a Talia ultimate. It just drew a line down the middle of the fight, but half the team couldn't cross. Really, really effective stuff from them. Obviously, with Akatan showing up, I can't say his name apparently. With him showing up, there's a fight in the bot side, and I think it's just going to be another burger for the side of Verdant. Able to easily secure that kill as Harbo. He is getting absolutely melted. I don't think the Leandri's damage is going to finish him up, but Winter, so much health is just evaporated off his health bar. They get the charge in onto the tower. Are Verdant going to commit for a little bit more?
Yeah, I think you do. Like we said, there's no wave clear from Lightside. How do you stop this? I don't think you can, and so that's going to be that inner turret going down. The inhib turret survives. Ooh, as does Papatero. That is...
Rusty has ult.
Very low. Yeah, is he going to look for it? I mean, I think with the honey fruit, Papatero should be fine.
Missed.
Yeah, I don't think he would have fallen down just yet anyway, but that's going to be the dragon as well now for Verdant. And it's all falling apart now for Lightside. Not looking too good in these tiebreakers.
Yeah, they've got boss as well, bot side too. Actually, a lot that Verdant can pick up off the back of this one. Unless they're going to reset first, as we're just seeing the fight in the mid lane and what happened.
You imagine that's the next play though for Verdant, right? You take care of your waves, you reset, and you look towards Atakan. You can bring that down and get the GA, then you're sorted. This fight, by the way, in the bottom left-hand side, you can see it was just a cheeky little kind of harass and push with Papatero trying to survive, and in the end, I mean, it was actually Rusty Sniper who found himself in a bit of a pickle there. He's the one who had to blow his flash. It was just, I mean, this is the thing, like with Rusty, like what I love about him is, you know, he's always gonna give you a chance. I think that's all you can ask for from your ADC. Like, if you can always play towards him. He will always, at least, like, he's very rarely, he may have his moments where he's kind of like running it down, but he's very rarely just useless, right? Yes. He's always going to be a factor for your games, and a play like that just kind of shows you how.
I put a lot of faith in this guy coming into this play. I really feel like Rusty was a player who was just stuck on a bad team last season. I think he's an incredibly good ADC. So I'm excited to see how he develops, because I don't think this is a bad Lightside roster at all. I think there's a lot of potential in this roster, and I'm really excited to see once we get into that playoff section, once we start to get those best ofs, how much development we can see coming out of him. As right now, I think the development for him is just to walk away while Verdant are going to look to contest Atakan. Highbridge. It's a cheeky arrow there from Mishi. Does look like Verdant are playing this a little bit safer. They're not just full committing. I mean, Atakan absolutely shreds resistances. So if a comeback was available to Lightside, getting a mass engage on Verdant, or having the resistance shred, that would probably be their opportunity to do so.
We'll see how this one unfolds here, because if you are Verdant, you need to control the bot side of the map right here. Make it so that if Lightside try and walk into the Atakan area, then you can collapse on them with all your Rel, your Varus ults, your Rumble ults. You want to get control of this bot side so that you're forcing Lightside to walk into, to face check that Fog of War.
Oh, no,
it looks as though Verdant, they're just going to re-attack in the top side instead. This could leave up Atakan bot side.
Oh, they're hitting with the W. Gonna go for the jump in. Harbour gets the E back. I don't think No Name's got the speed, and yeah, it's an instant rotation coming in from the side of Lightside towards Atakan. Pings are going down. I mean, there's a teleport available onto Papatero, but Ronaldo, he's not got his teleport for a hot minute.
Oh, Mishi
going down. That is probably the doom signal for Atakan. Lightside should be able to answer out off the back of this one. I mean, again, resistance shreds. Papatero very fed. He's got that bloodletters as well, so he is going to be able to absolutely liquefy anyone inside this fight. But honestly, they're just going to have to back off and maybe just take those neutral objectives for those towers for the side of Verdant.
Oh man, that is tragic. When you've got a nearly 10k gold lead at 24 minutes and you have to concede Atakan, that is awful for Verdant right here. I mean, they decided to play topside, which I was... Yeah, I don't know. I don't see really the value of that against an Akali, who's really hard to catch and to shut down. Mishi here, this is the problem, right? When you're playing towards the top side of the map, you lose control of the other side. Is this a replay or what's... Yeah, okay,
no, that was a replay.
Yeah. The flash, I was like, has it happened again? No, but they're still trying to attack Harbour in the top side of the map. On the Akali, it's not working. And look at this, a perfect response to Lightside's credit. They're attacking bot side instead. They're getting the pushes. Even if you just trade turret pushes at this point, it's worth it when you're this far behind on Lightside. Look at that. It's like a 4,000 gold difference right now. This past like 3 minutes, that has just been tragic for Verdant.
Yeah, and Verdant don't really want to commit major abilities into a fight that's just going to get reset and TP'd back into. Both Harbo and Winter have it, so if a 5v5 was to break out, it's effectively a 5 versus 7, just because they can rejoin really fast. So Verdant, this has really put a kind of halt on their pace in this game, and it comes off the back of, yes, No Name going into the top side, but then Mishi not respecting the fact that his jungler was top side, so he had basically forfeited that red side jungle by Atakan and just backed off. But for now, it is just a bit of a waiting game here for the side of Verdant, waiting for an opportunity to either pop one of those passives for free, or that revive for free, or just waiting for it to time out. They've still got a third of the timer left on it. I can't remember exactly how long it lasts for. I think it's like 150 seconds, right?
It's either way, it will be up for this ensuing team fight if LLS can pull that trigger.
Lightside should just force Baron.
Yeah, this is it.
It's such a risk-free Baron as long as you don't get Smite stolen. like, you just force the fight as Rusty is going to lose a fair amount of HP. I say a fair amount, most of his HP there to No Name. But there's no point full committing to try and kill him.
Nah, but
He's
this
just going to chunk and leave. Although, Revive
it's
runs
going to
off
kill
soon.
the timer. It's going to kill the time for Atakan. Like, this is actually quite significant right here for Lightside. Like, they needed, I agree with you, to force an objective here, get the fight, and here we go.
Yeah, Ronaldo just goes golden immediately. I mean, Revives are about to tie him out, but they find Ronaldo in the meanwhile. Harbo jumping onto Mishi, gets himself withdrawn out. Got the teleport though, so he's sitting pretty. That Revive is now worn out, and the fight could go in favor for No Name, but he is going to lose a fair amount of HP. Obstinatus low, teleports are coming in for the backup. There's the Magnet Storm, instantly bopped out by the Alistair, but Papatero makes his way forward. Harbo has rejoined into the fight. Leo Lacargo going low. It's a double kill for No Name. Harbo getting cooked here by Papatero. Is able to put some space away, avoids the E. Dragon should be the prize here, but Harbo once again getting toasted. The arrow comes through. Papatero lays the carpet for him to the grey screen. Down he goes.
It was good for Lightside when they had Atakan up, when they had the revives. That was your time to fight in a game where you're behind. But it expires mid-fight. That could have been so different right there. Harbo, the only one to benefit from the revive. Hybraj now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it doesn't
That's a
matter.
dead
Stealth
monkey.
does not matter versus that flamethrower, and Rusty might be next.
Rusty? He doesn't have E. He's just, he flashes, but he gets finished up. That could just be Baron now for the side of Verdant.
I think you're right, Jake. It should be Baron at this point. And we have to start questioning after this Baron, how much longer can Lightside survive? You have to find a way to kill time on this Nash. But again, I mean, it's the third time we bring it up. We don't have wave clear. It's impossible as it is to wave clear versus Nash. But when you have negative wave clear, how do you do it? How do you stop the push from all the lanes? It's so difficult.
Baron, I think, is where Verdant's team is going to really shine. Because they have massive range advantage as well. And it's lethality Varus for the poke. It's Azir range for even more poke. You are going to be stuck under your towers getting poked out. But we'll have a look at the fight once again. And then we'll see what they do with Baron off the back of that.
This was it. You can see, we can't see the timers like of the Atakan revive, but unfortunately for Lightside, it's such a good start to the fight, right? Harbo falls with the Atakan revive, and then look, just a few seconds later, it all times out. Boom, right there. And at this point, now the fight is terrible for Lightside, because Rusty Sniper was on like 30% before the fight even started, right? He got poked out by Ronaldo like a minute before this clip even began. And at that point, you know, we were thinking, yeah, we can take this fight, we can do this. And Lightside's, they're getting a little bit hairy, but it just doesn't work once we time out. So Atakan, yes, very strong, game-winning buff, but that only applies in the buff song.
Well, Papatero puts the carpet down, and Harbo is being cooked.
Oh.
The Leandri's burn finishes him up. 1 versus 4 from Papatero. He turns the fight. Now backup has arrived. The cavalry is here, and Winter is going down. Mishi takes down Leo Lacargo. Winter crumbles to Papatero, and that should just be the base for Verdant. Lightside, they found a little window, a little opportunity, but this game has run away from them, and they will be locked into last place in Group A once this Nexus falls. It is going to have to be a miracle from Highbrows and Rusty Sniper. No teammates for 20 seconds. Turret number 1 down. Turret number 2 should be next to follow. No Name jumping in onto Rusty. No Monkey as Ronaldo sends him packing. Rusty is left alone, and this is just the final nail in the coffin for the side of Lightside. The carpet is laid on the base. They're finished on the fountain. Verdant have knocked Lightside into last place in Group A.
And the solo gap in this game was ginormous. Ronaldo and Papatero both exceptional performances in this one. Unfortunately for Lightside, they get into the tiebreaker with a 1-3 record, play the first 2 games of the day, and they can't quite make it happen. They showed us good things in that group stage, right? Even though they were 1-3. Arguably, they shouldn't have even been in the tiebreaker. They should have beat Bulldog the first time around. They had such a lead on them in their first matchup. But today, you know, it didn't look good at all, honestly. There are very few positives to turn away from Lightside. Back to the drawing board and start thinking about the playoff stages.
I think if I'm going to put my positive hat on here, I think Lightside were actually very good at recognizing when to move around the map, when to set up for an objective. The issue was everything that followed that, right? Like they weren't very good at fighting for the objectives. Their team fighting was pretty rough today. So yeah, they've obviously got a lot to learn, work on. But you know, I think you can take the objective stuff and say that's pretty solid right now. I mean, they definitely outpaced Bulldog on that front. But Bulldog was just better at team fighting. Verdant matched them and were better at team fighting, so they struggled quite hard there. Anyway, we're going to throw ourselves over to the desk to break that game 2 down, and then be getting ready for game 3, our final game of the day. So see you in a moment.
Hi.
Yeah.
How's it going? Yeah.
That was a game of League of
What a
Legends
lovely
right there.
day today. For
It was an all-timer.
Yeah.
It happened.
One
So-
of the ages.
I'm gonna say it. You ready? This
Yeah.
is the first game in the split where the team loses with Voracious Hatakan. This is extremely hard for the light side. There's no way around it. I think it's about celebrating what the enemy team brought up, Verdant, and kind of set up what we have next, because the light side tried their best and it was not close at the end of the day. So it's on to understand what Verdant did so well.
I mean, it's difficult to frame this in terms other than kind of everything better than Lightside. I think we saw a lot more cohesiveness from Verdant. I think we saw a very good understanding of how they needed to play the fights in order to win. I think generally their moves across the map were pretty decent. Definitely not as aggressive in terms of forcing the issue as Bulldogs were in the previous game. But to an extent, I think Verdant have always, as long as this organization's existed, been a lot more measured in the way that they approach the game. And that is roster agnostic. No Name, I think he had a good game. But the frustrating thing about this is, despite the fact that this was still a pretty crushing defeat for Lightside, there were reasonable plays for them, right? As I think we've got in the first replay. Last game, they were just getting completely gapped in every single situation, but at least we saw a little bit of link-up play coming out from Obstinatus and Highbridge, and I think based off of how poorly the previous game went for them, I wasn't necessarily expecting them to be able to do this. But Leo Cargo and Highbridge getting in the enemy jungle, being a little bit aggressive, making some plays with vision, catching out Obstinatus, and then double dipping to get the kill onto Mishi. And this is what was a little bit frustrating, is that this is a team that can genuinely make good maneuvers at time, but they just failed to chain them together in succession to actually build an advantage. Even when those plays were happening, they were already in a 2,000, 3,000 gold deficit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's kind of a broken clock is right twice a day kind of thing to me. It's not impossible. It's not like they're incapable of, making a correct call, but it's about making that correct call from the beginning of the game, as opposed to always doing it from a deficit like you're pointing out. And to me, I think just for Lightside, we'll touch on Lightside because we're going to be talking more about Verdant, with the Bulldog matchup coming up now. Yeah, they've just got to try and find a consistent way to play the game, I think. Whenever you see a team struggling like this, to me, it's always go back to basics, don't try out anything flashy, front to back, no flanking champions, none of this nonsense, just, play it simple. Always just keep it simple, stupid, right? Is the acronym. I think that is really what, for me, at the minute, this Lightside lineup needs to do. They need to go back to just playing very, very simple AD carry champions, right? No more Ezreal. Pick things up that are hyper carry late game champions. Things like Jinx, things like Sivir, things like Zeri. They're not all in the meta at all, really, but it's things that you can meld a comp around. Same thing for the mid lane. Keep the mages easy. Keep Harbo on things like Orianna. Keep him on well, maybe not the Syndra, but you get the idea. Keep him on things that are just very, very easy to execute around. And I think you can always build a foundation off of that, if as a band-aid, right? As a band-aid fix to actually allow you to get into neutral game states and progress as a team. If you're all over the place in terms of style, game to game to game, it's going to feel very difficult to make progress collectively as a unit.
Lightside is locked in last place on Group A, at least for seeding as we head into playoffs, but we still have one ahead of us. It's the final game of the day, but before we do that, we have an interview with someone from Verdant, Obstinatus. Hey!
Hello.
Finally, we get 2 Portuguese on the interview.
Yeah, we can do it in Portuguese if you want.
No, they won't allow me. They will attack me. They will attack me. How you doing? Okay, congratulations on this victory as well. And I want to hit off strong. What happened during play day 1 and 3 that made you guys fight for tiebreaker?
I mean, it happens that we're winning every single early game, but we are also losing every single mid game, you know? Today it was a bit different. We still did some mistakes, which could cost us the game, but it's okay, we won at the end. Let's see how it goes the next one. And I mean, we should be a great team, you know? We just depend on ourselves to actually work a bit harder and prove it in the Rift, you know?
Because it's not like you played with everyone here, but obviously Papi Tito being another Portuguese player and you faced him multiple times. With that in mind, do you think the synergy is easier to achieve because there's some knowledge in between you guys? Do you think you need more time on scrims to get the perfect synergy and understand the macro more of the team? What do you think it's missing out right now before you head on to playoffs?
I think that right now we just need like a louder voice, if that makes sense, you know? Because we kind of are all talking, but we need someone to demand more, you know? Like, tell everyone to shut the fuck up and just demand everything, you know?
It has to be you, man. You have to teach them. Tell me something. We're heading for the last game, Bulldog. They showed up today extremely strong. You know this team specifically.
Yeah, we're gonna win.
Won. Oh, you're gonna win. So if you could give me a hot take, a hot take. What would be the hot take for the last game of the day?
A hot take? I mean, maybe he blinds Braum again and he suffers in lane, I don't know. With he, I mean Kassing, right?
Yeah. So tell me something. Final question, I won't bother you anymore. For people that are now on the chat and a lot of new viewers for NLC, because we have really powerful teams and really powerful names, my question to you is, describe yourself as a champion. Like, pick a champion to describe yourself so the viewers understand who you are.
I mean, my favorite champion is Trash. I even have a tattoo of him, so I have to say Trash, right?
Ah, wait, in your arm?
Yeah, I mean, here.
Oh!
It's not showable.
It is. That's a big one.
Yeah, it's a good one also.
We gotta see that Trash one day. We gotta see it, Obstinate.
Yeah, sure.
It, man. Hey, best of luck for the final game. You do you know what to do. That's why you're here. And pleasure to talk with you. I'm sorry that's in English, but obrigado e boa sorte.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
That's a sick tattoo.
Pretty damn decent. Pretty damn decent.
Big piece as well. It's all forearm.
Yeah, not Gripex tier. Like, complete opposite.
No, far from.
Yeah. Just saying, I'm just happy to see this. I have a Pantheon, so I see a Thresh, you two. Well, at least Yamada has a chair. So before we head on into the last game, we have a replay.
Yeah, couple more replays out of that game. Yeah, to me, again, I actually liked listening to I'm gonna call him Obi for sure, because I like it. I hope he doesn't mind. He seems like a chill guy anyway.
He is.
To me, I like listening to him talk about the team dynamic that they have at the minute, where it feels like to him, and maybe I assume the rest of the team right now, they don't necessarily have someone who's always demanding something. I think that's always an important figure to have inside of a team, structure. It just gives you a lot quicker and snappier direction in game that a lot of teams, especially at this level, especially at era level, you'll see a lot of the time are lacking. Yeah, it's a very eye testable thing. You can tell when a team doesn't fully know what they want to do on the map. So I'm curious if we're actually going to see a little bit more development, maybe out of, as the support player, Obstinatus himself, right? A lot of structures typically tend to, function around the support or the jungler being the most vocal on the team when it comes to macro calls. So hearing him call that out is very interesting. I'd love to know if, maybe further on down the line for Verdant, if that is going to be, the role that he takes up. But yeah, I think to me, they at the very least had. I mean, they had more direction than Lightside did this game, and I think for them, hopefully that's a developing, point of their play where, hey, No Name steps up and he's a little bit more vocal.
Yeah.
Or maybe Ronaldo, as experienced as he is, he steps up and he's vocal. I think that's the other tertiary role that kind of gets a little bit more leeway to be a vocal shot caller just because of how dynamic the mid lane role is. So yeah, hopefully for Verdant, that's something they can fix. And it leans into the earlier point too of, I feel like they need to be greater than the sum of their parts, this lineup, to really achieve greatness. And you get a lot of that out of, strong individuals rising up in the midst of a team dynamic and really trying to take the lead on a lot of things inside of the game.
Yeah, it's a direction that this team can grow in. And I think it is brilliant that we've got a strong set of 5 players and they've already identified what they need to do to grow and what they do need to do to get onto that next level.
We'll keep talking about these two teams as we're about to jump into the last game of the day and from Play Day, and I'll see you soon. It's a quick break. Don't go anywhere.